Buddhism is believed to have originated in the area around Nepal, but the earliest surviving images of the Buddha originate from Gandhara as well as from India. The earliest surviving Buddha images from Gandhara show a strong influence of Hellenistic art, particularly in the draping of the monk's robe and the facial features of the Buddha. This Buddha statue is in the Peshawar Museum in Pakistan. Buddhist imagery also developed in India at approximately the same time, leading to a different style of depiction. This statue is from Mathura and shows the Buddha seated in the lotus position, showing the gesture of fearlessness with his right hand. The Buddha sits on a lion throne, and behind his head is an incised sun disk, representing the halo that we see in Gandharan art. Here, the Buddha is flanked by two bodhisattvas. This statue belongs to the school of art of Mathura, which started in the 2nd century before the Common Era and centered on the city of Mathura in central northern India, during a period in which Buddhism, Jainism, together with Hinduism, flourished in India. Mathura was the first artistic center to produce devotional icons for all the three faiths. There are multiple caves in India displaying Buddhist art, cut into the rock. This example is from Cave 2 at Aurangabad in the state of Maharashtra in western India. The cave was established in the beginning of the 6th century of the Common Era, and here we see Buddha sitting in the lotus position on a lotus flower flanked by bodhisattvas on either side. Buddha holds his hand in Dharmachakra Mudra, or the turning of the wheel gesture. This gesture represents the first sermon given by the historical Buddha in the deer park at Sarnath. He preached to his 5 former companions, the ascetics, with whom he had shared 6 years of hardship. At first, his former companions were suspicious of the Buddha, thinking he had given up his search for the truth when he renounced their ascetic ways. But upon seeing the radiance of the Buddha, they requested that he teach them what he had learned. Thereupon, the Buddha gave the teaching that was later recorded as the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which introduces fundamental concepts of Buddhist thought such as the middle way and the Four Noble Truths. Rock-cut temples are not just a feature of Indian Buddhist art, but are also found in China, such as at Yungang, Longmen, and Dunhuang. These cave temples, which were modeled after earlier cave temples in South Asia, feature thousands of images. The sculptures and paintings found within these caves help us understand the history of the development of Buddhist art in China. The construction at these cave temple sites began during the period of division and continued during the Tang Dynasty, when China was once again unified under Han Chinese imperial rule. This example shows the entrance to central Binyang Cave at the Longmen Caves in China and is dated to 508 to 523 of the Common Era. The Buddha sits in the lotus position, displaying the gesture of fearlessness with his right hand, and the image is executed in the mature Northern Way style. The Longmen Grottos of Henan Province, China, are a formation of limestone rock carved into tens of thousands of statues over a period of many centuries, beginning about 493 of the Common Era. Moving from China to the Bamiyan Valley in Afghanistan, we would once have found 2 monumental Buddhist statues. Carbon dating of the structural components of the Buddhas has determined that the smaller 38-meter-tall Eastern Buddha was built around 570 of the Common Era, and the larger 55-meter-tall Western Buddha was built around 618 of the Common Era. Both images were destroyed in 2001. Korean Buddhism has its origins in India, but traveled to the peninsula through the Silk Road via Tibet and China in the 4th century of the Common Era during the Three Kingdoms period, from where it was transmitted to Japan. In Korea, Buddhism was adopted as the state religion of three constituent polities of the Three Kingdoms period, starting in 372 of the Common Era. This example of Buddhist art shows the Gautama Buddha from Sakuram Grotto, Gongju, in South Korea. The grotto was constructed by Kim Daesung during the Silla Kingdom, approximately 742 to 765 of the Common Era. Here we see the Buddha seated in a lotus position while his right hand is displaying the earth-touching gesture, or the Bhumisparsa Mudra. Accompanying the main Buddha in relief are 3 bodhisattvas, 10 disciples, and 2 Hindu gods along the wall of the rotunda. Traveling from Korea to Southeast Asia, we know that Buddhism has a long history in the region. In Thailand, we see Buddhist art dating from the 6th century of the Common Era in the Mon Kingdom of Dvaravati. This image from the Dvaravati period is now in the National Museum in Bangkok and shows the Buddha seated in meditation while being protected by a 7-headed snake known as Muchalinda. It is said that 6 weeks after the Gautama Buddha began meditating under the Bodhi tree, the heavens darkened for 7 days, and there was a rainstorm. However, the mighty king of serpents, Muchalinda, came from beneath the earth and protected the Buddha by spreading his hood above his seated body. When the storm had cleared, the Serpent King assumed his human form, bowed before the Buddha, and returned in joy to his palace. Buddhism also reached the island nation of Indonesia, where the world's largest Buddhist monument, Borobudur, was constructed, but also a smaller temple known as Candi Mendut, which is close to modern-day Yogyakarta in central Java. The temple dates to the early 9th century of the Common Era, and inside the structure we can see a large Buddha statue seated in Vajrasana, or what used to be known as the European pose. He is flanked by similarly large statues of Avalokiteshvara and Vajrapani inside the cella. At Galvihara in Polonnaruwa in Sri Lanka is a rock-cut image of Buddha at parinirvana. The image dates to the 12th century of the Common Era. At just over 14 meters in length, the reclining image is the largest statue at Galvihara. It depicts the parinirvana or final nirvana of the Buddha, who is lying on his right side with the right arm supporting the head on a bolster, while the left arm lies along the body and thigh. The palm of the right hand and the soles of the feet have a single lotus flower carved on them. The 10th of the 10 Buddha images is from Japan at Kotoku-in, a Buddhist temple in the city of Kamakura in Kanagawa Prefecture. The temple is renowned for the Great Buddha of Kamakura, a monumental outdoor bronze statue of the Buddha Amitabha, which is one of the most famous icons of Japan. This Buddha statue measures 13.35 meters tall. According to temple records, the statue dates from around 1252 of the Common Era. The statue is hollow, and visitors can view the interior. At one time, there were 32 bronze lotus petals at the base of the statue, but only 4 remain, and they are no longer in place. These 10 images show the Buddha in different countries through a period of over 1,000 years. The style of the Buddha image changes, but the connection with the religion remains. We have seen him display a variety of hand gestures, such as the gesture of fearlessness, the turning of the wheel gesture, and the gesture of meditation.